I'm sharing my screen with you now. Okay, Ravi and Prasad said you guys can hear me, so I will go ahead and I will start my lecture. Okay. Okay, so let me just share my screen with you. Okay, this is what we were doing last time. We have basically gone through. This is unit number 3, right? Design for fluctuating load. Whatever design we did till last lecture was design for what you can say static load. But for if the load is fluctuating like cyclic load or fatigue load, then for that how to design we have seen in the last lecture. So for that, we have just gone through basic concepts of stress concentration. What is stress concentration, right? Why it happens, why we cannot avoid it, because we need changes in the dimensions, and when there is a dimension change, the stress concentration happens. So we just try to understand what is stress concentration, why do we need it, or why we cannot avoid it, and then how to design for a stress concentration. For that we have seen the factor, stress concentration factor. I hope you guys can see my word document, right? So we have seen a stress concentration factor kt, it is sigma max upon sigma nominal, right? So just to give you guys, then we have gone through what how this what you can say, how to read kt, from the standard, whatever they have their values, how from the graph how to get this or how to find out those exact values of kt depending on your ratios of your diameters and curvature and all that. So to just give you guys a feel, I will take a numerical of this numerical of stress concentration factor, just so that you guys have a feel of what is stress concentration factor or how does it matter. Okay, because without numerical it is a little difficult to understand. Then we have gone through, I think, stress concent how we can reduce stress concentration factor, methods for reducing stress concentration. So we have gone through this also. By having a small notches close to the large notch, sharp corners should not be there, and we can make a groove in front of something if the drastic change in a dimension. So all those things we have seen as a stress reduction methods. Now I will give you a feel of what is basically stress concentration factor. So they have given that a non-rotating shaft supporting a load of 2.5 kilonewton is shown in figure. So they have given a figure. Okay, people are still admitting. Guys, try to join early. Okay. So we have a shaft which is basically having a load of 2.5 kilonewton. So okay, so here the shaft is shown. The load 2.5 kilonewton acts at the center. See, I am not taking this numerical on the blackboard because it will not take more than 5 minutes to solve this. And also I would like to go ahead with the basic theory of next part. So I will take numerical. If it is a proper numerical from exam, I will properly take on the blackboard. So don't worry about that part. So this is a very small example, but I wanted you guys to have a feel of what is stress concentration factor or how to read the graph. So for that, they have given this is a shaft which is having a load of 2.5 kilonewton. So 2500 at the uh, center. You can see at the center there are three parts. 350 on the left hand side, the diameter is D. 350 on the right hand side, the diameter is D. It is between they are bearing on the left and right hand side, and the central part have a larger dimensions, that is 1.1 D. So it is 10% more than the diameter on the left and right side. Okay, so, and the length of that part is 300. So you can see it has now, this is an enlarged diameter case. So for this we will be using a graph of enlarged diameter, right? We have seen that also. Okay. So now the shaft is 2.5 kilonewton is load. Then the shaft is made of better metal. They have given the ultimate SUT they have given. So once we know SUT, we know that we can, with the say factor of divide by factor of safety, we will get the allowable sigma, and multiplied by 0.5 you will get allowable tau, right? So strength is SYT is given divided by factor of safety. So 100 will be your sigma max. It is shown here also. Sigma allowable stress is now 300 upon 3, 100 Newton per mm square. So basically this allowable stress in your shaft anywhere, larger part or smaller part, wherever it is, allowable stress is 300 100 Newton per mm square. Okay, clear. So now we have to design this shaft for now fluctuating load. Now the thing is that we need to know now, because of this change in the dimension or the diameter changed, what is the stress concentration is happening and what is the factor for that. Okay, we need to know that now, and once we know the factor, then we can find out the diameter. How we will do that? Still people are joining. It's 10 minutes we have crossed, and I have to click all the time admit all, admit all. I'm sorry. Try to join in first 5 minutes, guys. Because see now this Praveen Patil, Abhishek Tekavade, you guys are joining 10 minutes late. If you are not interested, you can simply don't join. It's not required. It's not necessary. I'm doing this for you. So just try to join in first 5 minutes, because my link it get disturbed, my rhythm get disturbed, so don't do that. Okay, Praveen Patil आणि टेकवडे आता येतं, so don't do that. आता काही अजून दोघं 4-5 जण लेट जॉईन झाले. So it is only 40-minute lecture. In that we start 2 or 3 minutes late. So basically we get 35 minutes. And in that also, if you guys are joining 15-20 minutes late, now there will be a masterpiece who will join in last time. I know very sure. I will declare the names also. That the people who join in the last 10 minutes. Okay. Still Abhishek and Praveen are joining. I have accepted, but they are, they simply joined and they left. Okay. Praveen, भाऊ तू फार उशिरा जॉईन करतो रे. अभिषेक तर अजून जॉईनच करतोय. Okay, anyway, so you guys are disturbing the class, so don't do that. Join in the first 5 minutes. Okay. So I was telling you now, there is a change in the dimension. Diameter is getting increased. So for that, because of that, there will be stress concentration, and that means design will not be straightforward. So first of all, now we will see what is the bending stress at the fillet section, right? And then we will see what is the bending at the center. So we have to see, because of change in the dimension, how the stress concentration will happen, and then what is the बघा आता अजून कोण येते हा. अरे काय यार. Ruturaj Praveen. See now, okay, let me just let these guys join. I will not allow you guys, I will not admit you guys, I will simply remove you from the this thing if you don't join in first 10 minutes. Okay. Let me put that in a writing also, because it is now getting frustrating now. If you join after first 10 minutes, you will not be allowed. This is for everyone. If you guys don't join, see this now Ruturaj, आता प्रसाद हिरवे आलाय. The thing is that काय होतं माहिती का, why do I allow you guys? Because it is possible that you lost your connection and you got disconnected, and by some technical reason, and that's why you want to join. So that's why I keep allowing you guys. But that means some people join only for last 10 minutes. Are you getting my point? So this is now somebody, I lost someone from the list, 1 or 2 people gone because of maybe whatever net connectivity or whatever issue might be there. That's why I have to allow you guys, but that doesn't mean you can join in last 10 minutes. आता कुणाल जोशी आला. Suraj, you joined very late. Why, boss? Why is that? See, there are now 3 people joining. See, now should we talk only about joining today? Because my link, I have to keep you guys admitting. So I get really frustrated and disturbed. Okay. So for technical reason, you guys are disconnected. That I can understand. But if you are joining late, that is not good. Okay. So I will have some kind of. The problem is that if I don't allow you to join after 10 minutes, and if you get disconnected by network issue, then you will lose the lecture. Anyway, so see, I got disturbed so many times. So we have two diameters D and larger diameter 1.1 D. So we have to find out the basically failure might happen because of the stress concentration, near the fillet, or the failure might happen at the center of the this is a, if you consider this as a beam, center of the shaft because of the bending, right? So we will see now we'll find out bending stress at the stress concentration place. Now this is the place where the stress concentration, where the fillets are there, and we'll find out the bending at the center, and we'll take whatever max from that, we'll take it. Okay, so first of all, bending at the stress concentration. Now where the stress concentration happen, where the diameter is changing from D to 1.1 D. Now how to find out stress concentration? Sigma 0 is 32 mb upon pi d cube. This is a simple bending equation. M upon I is equal to sigma upon Y. So sigma b is equal to 32 mb upon pi d. Now we have to find out bending moment, and we have to find out sigma 0. Then we can find out the diameter, right? So we know sigma 0 is given, that is I think sigma 0 is given na? It's 100, right? So okay, so we'll do the calculation later on. So for this, see what is the KT, stress concentration factor? How to find that? We need to know. See now the KT, how to find that? We have this graph. Now this is a graph for tensile load. Okay, this is for axial force, this is for torsion, and this is for bending moment. If you see here now, we need to know two things: capital D by small d, that means larger diameter and small diameter, and R, radius of the fillet. So and then we need to know R upon D. Okay, so in this case, D by D, capital D upon small d, ratio of larger and smaller diameter is 1.1 D upon D. So it becomes 1.1. And ratio of R upon D, R upon D is, R means radius of the fillet, is given as 0.1 D, and D is D. So it becomes 0.1. So you got two ratios, capital D upon small d 1.1, and radius of fillet and diameter of the shaft 0.1. So for 1.1 and 0.1, let's see. 1.1. So this is basically 1.1. I'm just enlarging the graph. 1.1 means third line. Okay, third from the bottom or fourth from the top. See this one. 1, 2, 3. Third line and 0.1. So third line 0.1. So it is around 1.6. Just hold on. I am getting a call from principal. Hold on. Okay, guys. Sorry, I had to take this call because it was from our principal. Please join other students. Okay, I will join. As I said, I'm getting really frustrated because of the admitting everyone. So I will be doing the joining activity after 10 minutes. Guys, kindly help me or kindly be supportive here, because while teaching I have to every second I have to somebody joining and losing. So I have to keep admitting. It is I am getting really frustrated there. So you guys do me a favor, and I cannot say that I will not allow you. Okay, because as I said, there might be a technical issue because of which you got disconnected. So there is, I cannot say that I will not allow you. So I will be doing the activity, allowing the students after 5 minutes, because every minute I can do that. While teaching, I cannot go and do the admit. Okay, so just be supportive here. As and when I possible, I'll admit you guys. Okay, so where were we? 1.1 line of 1.1, and this is point 0.1. So ratio of capital D upon small d, like larger diameter and smaller diameter, is 1.1, and ratio of fillet radius and diameter of the shaft is zero point 0.1. So 1.1 this line, and this is around 1.6, right? So from this graph you will know that this KT, stress concentration factor, for this case is around 1.6. So what they have taken? They have taken 1.61. Okay. So now we know sigma max is KT. So it is whatever sigma 0 we are getting, we multiply that by 1.61. So sigma max is KT into sigma 0. So 1.61 into 32 into MB. Now at the fillet, if you go from right hand side or left hand side, what is the bending moment? Bending moment will be the reactions at the support multiplied by 350. Now reactions at the support, see, it is a symmetric bar, and load is at the center is 2.5. So reactions will be 1.25, 1.25 from both sides, right? I will repeat. Consider a simple thing. Load is at the center. Sandeep Bhosle. See, आता संदीप भोसले आता जॉईन करतो. काय करायचं तुम्हीच सांगा मला आता. What should I do? We started with 7 people. Now there are 15 people. संदीप दादा तू खूप उशिरा जॉईन झाला का रे बाबा? Hello, Sandeep, can you hear me? Are you there at all? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so why did you join 20 minutes late, boss? Anyway, there is no point in discussing all that. What I'm trying to say is that we have around 15 people. I'm saying do not join if you are not interested. You do not join after 15 minutes. It simply looks bad for me. If you are really interested, join in first 5 minutes. Otherwise, simply don't join. I don't care. It doesn't matter for me. Okay. What I'm trying to say is that because of any technical issue, you guys got disconnected, and you guys joining. Then I have to allow you guys. But do not join after 15, 20 minutes. See, there will be some masterpiece. Now we will join after this also, 20 minutes also, simply for the sake of attendance. But see, today you must have, all of you must have experienced. You can put your feelings in the chat also. How the class is getting disturbed. Today I am just expressing this to you guys because you guys don't see what I am going through. I have to keep you guys admitting while teaching. So it is a very frustrating for me. So you guys today also are getting experience how frustrating. Every time somebody is joining, I'm letting you guys know. Now Kunal Joshi is joining, so I have to keep admitting him. I have to wait till he joins all that. So it is really frustrating. Don't do that. If you are not interested, do not join. I will never ever ask you why you did not join. It doesn't matter for me at all. I'm taking a screenshot of this attendance also. So if you are not joining and then you are putting your attendance in the Excel sheet, this is Excel sheet is there simply to make my life easy, so that I my clerical work is less for me. But I am taking screenshot. You guys must have observed. I am taking screenshot of each and every lecture near the end. Okay, so don't think like that. You can put in your attendance in Excel sheet and in that Google form, and you are done. So anyway, see, very frustrating to get disturbed again and again. Okay, so if say that at least 10 times I told you guys, that means 10 times I was disturbed from someone entering each and every minute. So it's really frustrating, and it's going to happen in another 5 minutes. Wait for it. I will let you guys know, because you guys should know what pain I go through, or any faculty go through if you join any minute. It's just like machli bazar. You can come and go anytime. It's not good. You have to have some discipline. Interested? Join. I have taken lecture with 6 people also. I'm okay with that also. I don't need a huge mob. So if you're really interested, you can ask me question in the chat. You can do whatever you want, but do not disturb the class. It's really frustrating. Do not join after 5 minutes. Okay. Today, I lost my N2 because of this disturbance. Okay, so sigma max allowable stress is now this bending moment I was saying. So the support at the ends will be half of 2.5, because there are two supports which are symmetric. So 1.25 is 1250 into 350 is what you can say, 350 is yeah, it's the distance of the load into distance. The load at the end at the support multiplied by the distance from the fillet. So that is 350 upon pi d cube. So this value sigma max becomes 7174704 by d cube. This is now, this is the allowable maximum stress for the stress concentration perspective. Now at the center there is no stress concentration, but at the center diameter is more. So but moment is also more. Moment is what? 1250 multiplied by 350 plus 150. Are you getting me? I will repeat again. At the center, moment diameter is more by 1.1 d, but moment is also more. So even the diameter, that means that doesn't mean your stress is less. Diameter is more, but because moment is more, we have to calculate that also. Now, how to calculate moment at the center? For the center, that on the left hand side there is a load of 1250 at a distance 350 plus 300 by 2. That is 500 total. Are you getting? 350 plus half of 300. So it is 500. So 32 into 1250 into 500 multiplied by pi upon, now this diameter will be 1.1 d, because the diameter at the center is larger. So this value comes 4783. So now sigma at the center is 4783. Now what is the larger of these two sigma? 7 million and 4 million, which is basically larger is 7 million. So for our design, we'll take the larger one. So 7174704 upon d cube by is equal to 100. 100 is allowable stress, right? So with this, we'll get d as 41.55. So basically, we have calculated diameter for two places, and diameter for here is will be larger. It will be larger, and that will be more safe. So we'll take that. So this is how we use the stress concentration factor. Stress concentration factor is the factor because of the stress concentration, because of the dimension changes. And for that, how we will approach? Whatever allowable stress is there, that will be equal to like your nominal stress multiplied by stress concentration factor, right? Now what is KT? Max sigma max upon sigma nominal, right? So this is how we will attack the stress concentration factor numerical. Okay, so I hope you guys understood what is stress concentration factor, and with this example you will get a feel of it. So now we'll go ahead with the now design for dynamic loading. So now what is dynamic loading? As now we have seen one aspect of stress concentration because of the dimension and all that. Now we'll see what happens if the loading or the load on the object or the element is dynamic. It is not static, right? Now how the load is dynamic? Okay, dynamic means what? It is changing, like say on the pedal shaft. Okay, on the pedal of your accelerator, you are not putting the load continuously on the when you are accelerating vehicle, you are pushing it. When you are this thing, you want to decelerate or you want to slow down, you are taking the your foot off the pedal. Same thing is true for brake. That means that load is not constant. Load is going from say certain say you are applying a force of 10 Newton, then you are increasing it to 20 Newton. So it is going from 10 to 20, and when you are taking off your pedal, your leg off the pedal, the load is becoming zero. Are you getting my point? So, Shubham, शुभम काय झालं शुभम आउट जाऊन परत येऊन गेला का anyway so what is happening is that the load is changing. So like if you see what you can say, uh, your fan, when the fan is not rotating, that means the load is whatever the dead weight of the fan is there, that tensile load is working on the fan. But when it starts rotating, now you are twisting it, your torsion is you are applying torque on that. The more you increase the speed, you are applying more torque. Are you getting my point? So basically any element which is, the load is changing, it is not fixed, that is called as dynamic loading, right? So actually practical say practical examples are they are of the this dynamic loading type of failure, and how the failure happens because of the fatigue, the failure happens. Now I will give you the example. Okay, let me just in Shubham, because he was disconnected or he's joining now, I don't know. So but now we are seeing before example of dynamic loading is cyclic loading. Now just take an example of a shaft. You know now when the shaft is rotating, I have a diagram also. This is called as a cyclic loading. I have a diagram also of the cyclic loading somewhere. Okay, so take this example. Now when the shaft is rotating, right? Now you have say a pulley on it. That means the weight of the pulley or weight of the gear is on it, right? Now assume that you are there is a shaft which is not rotating and you are putting a weight on it. What will happen? A shaft is there which is supported between two ends, and you are putting a weight at the center of it. What will happen? It will bend, right? Normal bending case will be there. At the center it will have a curvature, right? It will have a curve shape, and it will bend at the center. Now that bending, whatever bending is happening, that will be, what is the formula for that? M upon y is equal to sigma b upon y. M upon I is equal to sigma upon y, right? Mb upon y is equal to sigma upon y. So depending on that, we can find out what is the deflection, or what is the stresses in that. So basically, your this now this shaft is top. Now, what are the different stresses in the shaft? There will be a neutral axis at the center. Top portion will be, it will be under compression. All the fibers at the top will be under compression, and the fibers below the neutral axis or at the bottom will be under tension. Are you getting it? So basically, when we are putting a load on the shaft, it is not stress free, even though it is not rotating. It is having a stress. That means when we are putting a load on it, the top portion will be, the stress will go on increasing. At the extreme fiber, it will be maximum. At the neutral axis, it will be zero. Similarly, at the down portion, at the extreme most fiber, bottom most fiber, it will be maximum sigma t, and at the neutral axis, it will be zero. Okay, so that means these are the stresses in the shaft. Now just try to, now see, this shaft is, 4 points are there: A1, A2, A3, A4. Okay, I am giving you example now. This A1 and A3 is on the neutral axis right now. Are you getting it? So now I'm just repeating again. You have a shaft, okay, which has 4 points: A1, A2, A3, A4, right? Now if we are putting a load on it at the center. The load may be a shaft or pulley, tension in the pulley. Whenever you are putting, try to rotating it, the gear or shaft, you are putting a load on it, right? Basically torque will be there because of the torque into distance is basically load, right? So now this shaft A1 and A3, these 2 points are on the neutral axis, so they will not have any kind of stress. But the topmost A4 and A4 will be in compression, and A2 will be in tension, right? Are you getting this? Okay. Let me just take the screenshot of the attendance so that I know who were there. Okay. So what I was saying is that now there are 4 points. Two of them are on the neutral axis, right? And A1 and A2 are having equal and opposite stresses. Now you rotate the shaft by 90 degrees. Now it start rotating. So when you rotate the shaft by 90 degrees, A4 and A2 will be on the neutral axis, right? And A1 will be at the bottom, A3 will be at the top. So A3, which was zero stress, now will have maximum compressive stress, and A1, which had a zero stress, now will have maximum tensile stress. Are you getting my point? So stress at A1 was going from 0 to sigma t max, right? Again rotated by 90 degrees. So total now rotation is 180 degree. A1 will be again on the neutral axis, so stress will be 0. Again rotated by 90 degree, that means total rotation 270 degree. A1 will be where now A4 is there, where sigma C is max, right? And again with one more rotation, one cycle will complete and A1 will come back to where it started with zero stress. So now when in one rotation, one point is undergoing four different stresses: 0, max sigma t, 0, max sigma c. So this change in the stress of this particular element is basically represented in a sinusoidal wave. The stress is changing from 0, slowly it is going to sigma t, coming back to 0 at 180, again at 270 it is sigma c, and at 300 it is again 0. Are you getting it? So any element at the fiber, extreme fiber, is undergoing changing in the load. The load is going from 0 to maximum tensile to 0 to maximum compressive. So it keeps on changing. So what happens if you keep it rotating, this cycle will keep repeated. So if you are having say 300 RPM speed, this cycle will be repeated 300 times. That means one point will be going under tension, compression 300 times per minute. This type of loading is called as cyclic loading, or this type of cycling is called as dynamic loading. Are you getting my point? So here shaft is shown. If there is a load on the shaft and your shaft start rotating, each and every point of the shaft will be going, except for the neutral axis, all other points will be going through different kinds of loading at the different time of your rotation. And this type of loading is called as cycling loading. And because of that, what happens? Because of that, now if you are say under continuous tension compression, you will eventually fail. How that failure will happen? It will have a development. Somewhere the crack will develop, and then that crack will start slowly propagating. That crack will start developing and it will go on, and ultimately it will break the element. This type of failure is called as failure because of the dynamic loading. Are you getting my point? So this and fatigue failure. This is fatigue failure. Failure because of the fatigue. You are going through a fatigue, and you are failing. Human also go through fatigue. Fatigue means what? If you have continuous tension. When we say we have a fatigue, that means for the whole day you did a lot of hard work, mental and physical. You will be stressed. You will be tired. That thing is called as fatigue. So similarly, when the element undergoes tension compression, it will be tired, and that will it will undergo fatigue failure. So this is influenced by natural magnitude of the stress cycle. Now this cycle, what kind of load is there, how fast it is rotating, how fast the stresses are changing, that means depending on the cycle of the magnitude and the nature of the stress, your fatigue will be changing. Endurance limit, now we'll see what is endurance limit, what definition of it, how to calculate, we'll see that in the next unit. So depending on the endurance limit, basically how many life cycle or how many cycles your element can survive or it will not fail, that limit is called as endurance limit. How many cycles it will work without failure. Stress concentration, we have seen that in the last topic. What is stress concentration? Change because of the changes in the dimension, all that stress concentration will happen. At surface characteristics, now the more polished surface is there, now see why this particular element fail under dynamic loading, because of the it starts with the development of a crack. So you will have a development of a crack, and then it will go on progressing, and it will fail. That means to start the crack, if the element is more polished, the possibility of having cracks will be less. If it is not polished, it is a rough, then development of the crack will happen earlier. So surface finish is very important for fatigue failure. Properly polished material is there, element is there, it will fail, it will have a better strength in the fatigue. Okay, so on कौन है रे बाबा? Hello, who is that? Who is not mute? कुठेतरी प्रसाद हिरवे, अरे बाहेर काहीतरी वेगळा आवाज आला मला आता. ओके, सगळ्यांनाच ऐकू गेला तो. एनिवे, so on which factors fatigue will depend? Fatigue will depend on 4 factors, or there are many factors but 4 are important. First of all, we have seen a stress cycle. If the stresses are continuously changing from sigma T to sigma C, those endurance limit stress, if the stress concentration is there, that depends on that and the surface finish. So depending on these factors, your fatigue failure will happen. Depending on the stress cycle means what? Your stresses are changing from positive to negative. Obviously, it will fail. Endurance limit, how many cycles it will survive? That is endurance limit. Stress concentration, depending on the dimension, keyways, holes, and surface finish. The more polished surface is there, chances of having crack will less. So this is what is fatigue, dynamic loading and fatigue. Now I will say that this. Now we have to start next topic, stress cycle. But before that, let's talk about fatigue. We're talking fatigue. Now, what is fatigue failure? If you take a wire, of copper wire or any wire, and if just move it like this, what I have shown in the example, it and try to pull it from both sides, it will not fail. But try to do this, it will fail. You can break a copper wire or any metal wire by doing this. What is we are doing in ABC? See now, right? In A, like say, try to put it on the from the both ends, it will not fail. Try to shear it with hands, it will not shear. But try to do B and C. What is B and C? B is means you're bending it. Top portion will undergo tension, right? You guys should be able to visualize it. There will be a neutral axis. Top fibers will be under tension. Bottom fiber in the compression in figure B. In figure C, opposite. Top will be compression and bottom will be. If we keep on doing this, that means we are changing the stresses in different fibers, and ultimately it will fail much earlier. This is a very good example of how it will fail under fatigue. Okay, so if wire which we cannot break with tensile or shear load, we can fail with the fatigue very quickly, right? So it is shown in the fatigue, right? So in the second diagram I have shown, say somewhere in the origin there was a crack, it started, and then it will propagate. There will be fatigue zone, and final failure happen on the right hand side. So somewhere it will start with the crack, and the crack will start propagating, and then it will fail, right? This is what is called as fatigue failure. Okay, so we talk about the fatigue failure. Now you guys know about fatigue failure, cyclic loading. Now we'll talk about the different stresses in the cycle in the next lecture, because we are done with the time, and then we'll talk about the endurance limit. Okay, so stress cycle is a pending part which was supposed to be done, but we lost some time because of the attendance. So from the next lecture, kindly join in time.